Alice Boll, and I am so excited that you are joining me here for this Happy at Home session on May the 19th, 2020. We are all hanging out a little bit more at home these days, and these sessions are just a great way for us to hang out together and get our craft on too while we are at it. So welcome and thank you so much for joining me. This is super fun. Okay, well today I have a fun topic for today. It is actually something I'm a little obsessed with, so I think that this is a fun one. Oh shoot, I didn't bring that layout over here. Okay, at some point I might go and grab the layout that I've done as an example, but for now let's dive in. Oh, don't like that. So my name is Alice Boll. I run the ScrapHappy membership at scraphappy.org, and we also are the home of the Load Challenge, the Layout a Day Challenge. Now, throughout the month of Load, I find myself pulling at different things in my toolbox of techniques so that I can do some fun, different things on my layouts. So if you're here, if you want to pop something into the comments, tell me if you're doing Load, if you've never heard of Load, or if you are like rocking it out. I'd love to know. So what we do during the month of Load is we scrapbook every single day for an entire month, always based on a theme. This month is the Beatles. Kathy says, yay, I found you. Yeah, I didn't have this scheduled live this time. It was an oversight. I thought I usually do them right at the end of the last one, but with the last one being the live one I did at my parents' house and the drama with their internet, it didn't happen. Danielle says, what a pretty yellow, sunny yellow top, Alice. Thank you. So yeah, with this, I'm always pulling up my different technique toolbox, and there is one tool that I have in my toolbox, and it is something that I love so much. The first time I found out about these, I'm like, mind blown. Totally love them. Pretty sure we haven't done these yet during a Happy at Home session, so I'm like, perfect, we totally have to do these. So, dun da da da, what are you talking about, Alice? I am talking about Turnabout Stamps from Concord and 9th. Now these stamps, let me grab them. They have different ones. Here's one of them, and this is one of them. Actually, this is two of them. So they are stamps that are intended not to be just stamped once onto your paper. They are intended to be stamped, and then you turn your paper a quarter turn, stamp it again, turn it, stamp it, turn it, and stamp it. So 4 times stamping. You can use 4 different colors. You can get really playful with them, and you get amazing results. Now, the first time you see these, you're like, that's really cool. And then you might try them and be like, how did these work? Like, that's exactly what happened to me the first time I played with one. I was like, how did these work? But they're actually really simple once you kind of learn a few tricks. I'm going to show you my tricks. Are there better ways? Possibly. There definitely could be better ways. We've seen throughout this series that from time to time, I do not have the top-notch technique when it comes to using things. However, I get good results that I really like. Oh my gosh, somebody was giving me thumbs up already. Thank you so much. So Florence is here. She says, good afternoon. Diane says, good afternoon, ladies. Alice, you look very bright in my rainy environment. It has been rainy here too, so I needed a little sunshine in my life. We did not get my garden planted yet, so I'm like, come on, come on. It was supposed to be on the weekend, right? Didn't happen. We got everything all levels, new dirt. Oh my gosh, it's exciting. We haven't had a garden for years. The last one was not successful, so, you know, hopefully with this whole being home more, I'll have a very successful garden this year. Sheila says, I made it. I had to pick up my dog's medication and I forgot it was Tuesday. And Martha, she says, I finally made it to one. Yay! So, yay. And this is a fun one. So these I swear, if there is a product that I wish that I had designed in the scrappy world, well, there's probably a few of them, honestly, but this is one of them. So Concord 9th is a stamping company, and they are based in the United States, and they make fantastic stamp sets, like totally fantastic. Let me give you an example, because I have a little obsession. So they make fantastic stamp sets, and this was from my recent order. I ordered a few things. So they have stamps, they have dies, they have lots of different things. And Gail says hello from sunny Tucson, Arizona. It's only in the 90s here. Bragger. 90 is almost too hot for me. I'm Canadian, cold-blooded, I swear. Kathy says, more important, how are the baby chicks? They are so good. They're getting like all their little wing feathers, so they're looking like, they're not quite like teenager chicks, but they're like big chicks now. So cute. Okay, so here we go. Turnabout Stamps. They have dies. They have so many fun, wonderful things. So wonderful. Here is a stamp set. It is a super big coverage. They always seem to include like extra little bits to help you get good effects and to have versatility with your stamp sets. I actually got this one as a die. I have used it. It is wonderful. Here is a filled in florals stamp set. We've probably seen this one. I know we've seen it during those happy at home sessions. I've got this fantastic poppy. It's called the Pretty Poppy stamp set. And check out this heart smile stamp set. What was really cool about this one is this die that you can get to go with it. Oh, I can't wait to play with this. Oh, Sheila's got, oh, is it your puppy with arthritis? Oh my gosh, so sorry. I know, my brother had to do an emergency call out to a vet on the weekend, and I was like, we're all wondering if his puppy was coming back from the vet. He did, but it was pretty scary. So when I was first introduced to Turnabout Stamps, they kind of blew my mind. Yeah, their stamps are amazing. They have dies as well. They're coming out really soon with a color collection. It actually got delayed with the whole COVID-19 thing. So it was really sad because it was supposed to launch in April, their color collection with all of their colors. And the way they've designed their colors is that they really fit nicely within families and they kind of blend. Every color blends to the next. If you haven't seen my Creativation video from Concord 9th, from Creativation 2020, just type it in like the chat, Concord 9th, Creativation 2020. My video should pop up. It has like, what are they, pink backgrounds this year or blue backgrounds? I can't remember, but so good. So Kathy says, I'm not a good stamper. I never get good coverage. I may have to invest in the Misty. So I don't technically have a Misty brand platform. I have the one from Tonic. But there are so many options for stamp platforms. If you have been unsuccessful stamping, it's a game changer. Stamp platforms are a total game changer. And they're definitely the thing you need if you want to play with Turnabout stamps. Like, I'm sure there's a way you could do it without a Turnabout or without a platform, but you're going to have a nightmare of a time. So this is the thing. Okay, so what is the concept? So let me show you here. So the concept is you have a stamp and you stamp it and then your paper gets turned and you stamp it again. And your paper gets turned and you stamp it again and your paper gets turned and you stamp it again. And you get this lovely effect with all of the colors that you've used. It's quite amazing. And they've been coming out with, well, they've had so many different styles. Here's one with snowflakes where we live. I thought this would be something that would be very appropriate to have in my collection. You've seen this one. It's called the Mosaic. I showed you quickly the little sunshine one that I have here. I have a few, and there's one here with little gems on it. Haven't played with that one yet, can't wait. But today I wanted to show you this one because I was really excited, and they've done a lot of creative things. So like even with this one here, you can see you actually get 2 turnabouts in this set, so they go together. You can use this as one great big background, or you can take them apart and use each of these separate. You could do just the outside, you could do the inside, or you could use different colors, maybe on the outside from the inside. It is so cool. Kathy says, I own a ton of stamps acquired over the years, and I get so frustrated. Get a platform. Seriously, it's like, what, 30, 40, 50 bucks? Like, whatever they are, worth their weight in gold. And if you make your own Christmas cards and you like to stamp on Christmas cards, or you would like to stamp on Christmas cards, setting up your little scene or your words or anything and being able to stamp it and get that perfect crisp image, so good, so good. So they've been getting playful, and when I saw this set here, I went gaga. So the way it works is that you actually have 2 turnabout stamps in this one. You have the florals, and then you also have the leaves, and they're built so that they interconnect. So I'm going to show you the back of the packaging, and then we're going to play with it. So, yeah, I'm so excited. Okay, so here is the examples, and over here you can see if you can just stamp the flowers with the peach color, and now they've stamped the colors, they've turned the paper, and they've added their blue color. Then they've turned it and added another little orangey peach color. And then they've turned it and added kind of a reddish color. So they've created this full colorful background using that one stamp. Then we've got the leaves. They've stamped it, they've stamped it, they've stamped it, and they've stamped it. And you've got this full background of leaves. But look at how it looks when you turn them together. Like you're full on creating like this multi-layered, multi-colored dimensional pattern. And it can be anything. It can be exactly the right colors that you need to match whatever you are working on, which I think is the greatest thing ever. You become only limited by your color supply, your color stash of inks. And if you're like me, you probably already have full set syndrome and you have a good stash of colors already. And if not, this might be that little gateway that you need. So let's have a look. I'm going to set these aside and we'll go through the setup, how it all works, how you get it to work, how you do all of it, and then I'm going to show you how I've used it with my scrapbooks. If you've seen some of like all of these sessions, you've seen it before, but I just wanted to show you again. I think it's super, super fun. Okay, let's see here. We've got my camera. When I'm learning something new, I always focus on learning this for a card, right? For a card. I make it easy on myself because when you're doing this for a card, it makes it so that you don't have to have a big commitment, right? Like it's like that commitment level. If I'm making something for a scrapbook page, that better work out. But if I'm making something for a card, it gives me the chance to play and experiment, which is why even though I am primarily a scrapbooker, that's those full set syndrome. Yes, I'm a sufferer. I know, me too. I get it. But even though I'm primarily a scrapbooker, I do a lot of my testing through card making. So I'd love for you to tell me, like, in the comments, do you make cards? Do you like making cards? Are you just a scrapbooker? Did you come to scrapbooking from card making? Did you do card making out of obligation because you own this stuff? That's me. I make cards because I own scrapbook stuff and it feels weird to go out and buy cards when I can so easily make them. So that is kind of where I'm at. Okay, let's bring up my split screen. There we go. I figured it out. Okay, and it is focusing. It is here. Let's bring that back a little bit more so that we get this a little bit more in the center of my screen. We might have to go to the other view, but for now I think this will work. Okay, Kathy says all of the above. Talk about embracing it. Okay, so I have peeled this part. This is the leaves off of the backing here. So I've peeled this off. It's kind of a big stamp, right? So if you were trying to do this with a block, it would be quite the challenge, only in the fact that it's already super huge and you need a massive stamp. So Lynn says, I make cards, so that you're gonna love this, right? This gives you like the option to make the funnest things. Diane says, I've made a few at Christmas. I don't like making cards. I prefer scrapbooking. Daniela says, I started with mini books and they are still my favorite, although I also do layouts and cards. Sharon does card making and scrapbooking, but she began with scrapbooking. Sheila says, I make cards. I'm about to start on my Christmas cards. Seriously, girl, it is May. I am nowhere near thinking about Christmas, but kudos to you. Oh, wait a second. I think I have my thing back. We are back on my laptop, and I'm so happy. Oh my gosh, new battery, saving the day. Okay, so once you have this peeled off, you need to get it lined up so that you can make the rotations. And they actually include a fabulous little guide. And then there is also a thing called a jig. So I have the jig. It is on my desk, sitting right here. Let me grab it. Okay. Now, you guys have seen before, I've talked all about how I like to do card fronts that aren't full quarter fold cards, right? So a quarter fold card is like 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and that allows you to take a piece of 8 1/2 by 11, like letter size paper, fold it into quarters, and that would be the front of your card. So a lot of cards that you get in the mail will be a quarter fold card, like if it's a person that made it, right? Personally, I use a lot of scrapbook paper, which is 12 by 12, and then you end up with a bunch of leftover stuff. So I find that I get way more distance if I cut my card fronts to 4 inches by 5 1/4 and then put them onto a card base, because I'm usually never doing the art right on the front of the card. I'm usually doing it on something that gets put onto the front of the card. So in setting it all up, I've added extra details to my stamp, my Turnabout jig. So this is my Turnabout jig. These are just little bits of paper, or little bits of tape. So it has like these little markings in the corner for doing a quarter fold card, and I've marked them with a little bit of black Sharpie in the corner so it's easier for me to see. I've also marked the center with a black Sharpie so it's easier for me to see. This is mine. I'm going to work with it, and I'm going to use it to how it works the best for me. But basically, it's going to sit in the corner here. And I'm going to take this. This is the guide. This is the template. It allows you to line up your stamp. Once it's lined up, we need to put this thing aside and just make sure we have it for next time. So that's about the only thing. And here you can see I'm just going to line it up in the center of this jig, and then I'm going to take my stamp and make sure the flat side is going to be facing the lid. And then I'm going to stick it on so that the lines, the images line up. So we could even do this after, so it doesn't really matter yet, as long as it's lined up before we attach it to the surface. So here we go. We've got everything lined up. We're going to make sure that my center point is lined up and that everything is kind of square. Just going to put this here for a sec. And I'm going to close this up to bring the stamp to mount the stamp to the top. Now this little template thing stuck to it. Doesn't matter. We're done. We're done with this. We'll just set it aside because we will need it in the future. Don't lose it. So then we've got this set up for our cards. So now we just need a blank card. I just had a bunch of them. I've moved everything around because I was like, ooh, look at this and look at this. Here we go. Here we go. So you'll notice in the corner of these, I've done little tiny dots. Maybe you can't see that. I put little tiny dots in the corners of these. The little dots are actually my bonus markings for my card sizes that are 4 by 5 1/4 rather than their other size. And I'm just going to take my purple tape and stick it down to this stamp-a-jig, this stamping turnabout jig, and then I'm going to take my magnets and hold down the jig. So the jig has numbers on it. So this is number 1. That's kind of like the up. If I was doing this in front of myself more so, I would have it kind of faced like this. I guess I can do that. Yeah, no, it's going to be hard for me to ink up, so I'm going to do it like this on the camera. So as long as you start with the proper number and then you can go around, all good. Now we're going to put some ink on here. So I've grabbed 4 colors of green. These are from my old stash of Close to My Heart colors, but I have lots of colors in my Close to My Heart inks. They're still in fabulous condition. They've been around for a million years. Some of them needed a little re-inking, but they actually weren't too bad, so I was pretty happy coming back because I did test this a little bit. I've had enough happy at home live chat fails. So Martha says she's a card maker and a wannabe scrapbooker. We will get you fixed up. You will be a scrapbooker. It will be like your heart singing. So Lisa's here from Brooklyn. Oh my gosh, everybody is from all over. So I'm just gonna ink up my stamp. And honestly, if I don't do the most perfect job, it's not gonna be a big deal because we've got it on the platform. So I tend to actually ink the stuff and stamp it probably 2 to 3 times. You wouldn't have to, depending on the total look that you want. Now, every time that you use a stamp platform, always make sure that your jig here is pushed into the corner. As long as it's pushed into the corner every single time and that your paper is not moving, it's gonna be perfect. Kathy says, but we learn from your fails. Absolutely. Well, hopefully we do, right? Like, so that you don't have to suffer the same problems. Okay, so we'll stamp this up and we'll stick it down. So far, this is just stamping, right? This is stamping with a platform. We've seen how this works. We've done this several times. I'm gonna just do that 2 times for the sake of this. I'm happy with how that looks. Okay, so that's my first color. And depending on how fussy you are, you may want to just use a quick little cloth to clean that off between your colors. Sometimes I'm lazy. It depends on the colors that I'm going from. The doll says, I make cards to use my scraps and practice techniques. Totally. It's a perfect way. So that first color was Close to My Heart Topiary. These are not necessarily current colors, guys. I can swear that some of them will not be their current colors. Okay, so I've got my next color ready. My number 1 is still here. We're just gonna take this and we're gonna turn it. Now, some of the stamps may be interfering with my tape, so we might have to move my tape. I just take it and I move it to a different corner. It's not a big deal. This is the purple tape from We Are Memory Keepers, right? That's the right one. Is that right? If I'm not right, correct me. No, I'm not right. Somebody correct me and tell me where my purple tape is from. I need to write it inside the thing or something because I want to say the wrong thing all the time. Okay. Now we can ink up our stamp. So we did a quarter fold. So now this is number 2 up here. And you can't see that very good. Be like, Alice, put this back on camera. Okay, so we're inking up with my next color, stamping it down, and you start to get the idea of how this is going to layer together. Vicky is here. But you're fine. We're using a Turnabout stamp from Concord 9th. And I'll link up the ones that I use in the description because I'm like a super fan. Okay, so now you can kind of see the different colors starting to interact and mix as we go with this, right? So that was pear. Now I'm going to use fern. Going to clean that off. We're going to take this, spin this. Now we got number 3 up there. And I'm going to just move this little bit of tape to here. Get my fern loaded up. You can see I kind of missed this section, right? You can see that. Can you see that? Here, let me bring it in closer. You can kind of see I missed that section. And, you know, if you were, I'm just going to clean that off because it looked like there's something stuck on there. But if you were just doing this at home and you're like, I missed that hole. When you're on a stamp platform, it so doesn't matter because you can just go right back in there, right? So making sure always that your jig is pushed right into the corner. And that way everything lines up perfectly. So that's really good. Now you can really see the mixture of the colors. Thermal web, thank you, Jane. I don't know why that does not stick in my head. I need to really remember that. It's like a trivia of things that Alice just can't seem to remember. Thermal web. And I love this stuff. It's like fantastic. It's the right amount of sticky. Like it holds really well, but then when you need it to like let go, it totally does. Okay, so now I'm going to turn this one last time. We have number 4 up in that top corner. Let's not move this around too much, Alice. And number 4 is up there. Let's put my other magnet back on. We are going to grab my last color, which is Sweet Leaf. And that is like an old color from close to my heart, let me tell you. And we will... Their ink pads don't even look like this anymore. They're definitely new one. Okay, Kathy says, okay, must have stamp platform. And I love it. Actually, I think that there's a brand new one out, maybe from Tonic, that is like, fits your 12 by 12 and stuff on it. Let's just say that might be going into my wish list pretty soon. Okay. There we go. Little gaps again. And one last time with my ink, making sure it's pushed into the corner. And done. Look how fabulous this is. Let me hold this up. Take my things off. Look how fabulous that is. Is that not beautiful? And then if you have like a floral that you like die cut or something like that and you put that over the top, it would just look gorgeous, right? Super gorgeous. Now you will notice that there is green ink over the edges. If you use a 6x6 piece of paper, you won't have all of this excess stuff. 6x6 will work just like perfectly for this size. But, you know, then you'd have to trim it down for card. So it really doesn't matter. But yeah, that is super fabulous, right? But we're going to do next step. We are going to take this to the next level. I'm just going to move the tape over to here and load that up. Now we've got the leaves up here. We are going to layer this. I haven't actually done this in full, so I'm hoping it works. You thought I tested all of it. Nope, I tested part of it. I wanted to make sure I could do all the stuff in that had color palettes, so it like kind of looked okay. So for our next one, we are going to bring out some colors to do the florals. I have Sunset, Cotton Candy, Sorbet, and Honey. And we are going to make our florals. And we're going to put this in right here in the same spot. I do need to pull, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to pull this off of here to line that up so that I can get my center point. So I'm just going to set it right there while I line it up. And I'm going to pull this off. I wiped it down and put this back into the packaging. And the way it's designed, like this design is actually quite easy to line it back into the packaging. It's not really complicated. Sometimes you're like, it's not lined up. These ones aren't too hard at all. Okay, we'll pull the florals out of here. And I'll grab the guide for the florals. Now, we don't need the rotation point for the leaves. We need the rotation point for the florals. We're going to stick this down, make sure that it's lined up. We're going to line up our florals on top of this, just like that. That looks great. Make sure it's lined up one last time, that our jig is pushed into the corner and that our thing is lined up. And then we're going to pick up the stamp. Okay. And then once again, we're going to put this little guide off to the side. We're going to take this and line them straight back up on here. Did I get ink on my fingers? Just a little. Just a little. Here, I'm going to take half a second and clean some of this ink off of here. I'll have to go use my scrubby. Kathy says, I love it when you surprise yourself in front of us. It's so fun to watch. When they're good surprises. I've had a few that were less good, let's just say. Okay, so now we have the stamp lined up and we're going to start with our first color. This first one is called Sunset. Kind of an orange color. And let's stamp it on. This is nice. Oh, I'm so excited. When I saw this, I'm like, what a fun idea. Okay, there we got some sunset flowers. You guys can't see this. Surprise! I'll move it in here. Are the stamps from close to my heart? No, they're from Concord 9th. So Concord9th.com is their site, I'm pretty sure. I will have all the links and stuff below. And yeah, I'm just a big fan. It is like, their stuff is brilliant. This is not the only thing that they brought out where I'm like, oh, so smart. so yeah, it's pretty great. Okay, so let's turn this, give it a quarter turn. We got the number 2 up here now. And just by the way that the stamps, I do have to move my tape over a little bit. And you see I've got a little bit of color on the corners, but we'll live, we'll be fine. Okay, my next color here that I'm doing is Cotton Candy. And it's a pink. I think it feels a little darker than I remember, but it looks really good on this. Okay. Make sure we're lined up. So, has anybody actually played with these? Like, has anybody tried these stamps? Like, they look a little bit like, on the rack, they don't look that exciting, right? Like, it's not the thing that you're like, oh my gosh, that's the most amazing thing when you see it on the rack. Look already, with the colors, with the leaves, woo! So, yeah, I'm a fan. These are looking so good. Yeah, I knew this one would be beautiful, but okay. So I've got number 2 up here. I'm gonna take this and spin it, and I'm gonna take my little tape and I'm gonna move my little tape over to this other corner. And We're gonna load up the sorbet ink next. It's kind of another orangey one. I wonder if I should have grabbed a different color. Stamp that one in there. Oh yeah, it kind of looks just like my other orange. Maybe I should have grabbed a different one. And go. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty though. Oh, okay. One last turn. Let's move my magnet. I'm gonna move my tape to the final corner. Drooling. Yeah, they're gorgeous. So for my last color, I picked Honey because it's a really rich yellow, and guess what color is one of my faves. I love pink, but I have a great appreciation for yellow. I think it is underloved. And look how it just perfectly closes in the design right there. We just closed in all the gaps. Like these guys do like engineering genius to create these. Genius. Okay, let's pull it out of here. Let's have a look at how freaking amazing that is. Like, I know. Sheila says, I don't think I would have looked twice at those stamps, but seeing it in action, they are beautiful. This is amazing. I know, it's so gorgeous. And just think, you can do them like any colors. And you could see those greens, nothing about those greens that I use says those work together, right? Like, you know how they sell like inks in color families and stuff? Those are not all from the same color family. They are not like designed to work together. The idea is that we're creating like the florals. As long as I don't pick anything that's like way too far out there, it totally works. Another thing you could do with this is if you don't have like 4 shades of green or something like that, you could definitely do some with like 1-step stamping and some with 2, where you use like, you pop another sheet of paper. Let me show you what I mean here. Let me just show you what I mean. Okay, so we're gonna line this up. I would use that for wallpaper. Yeah, it is so pretty. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I mean. So if you don't have all the colors, you can do this with shades of colors. And it doesn't have to be, you just get like a totally different effect. So, oh, I've got my flowers on there. I'm going to just leave it with flowers. We'll just show it with flowers, okay? So you can do this where you stamp one layer and just do the first layer as is, right? Full on color. And like, you don't have to do the green first. You can totally do the flowers first. These, it doesn't matter. It's just that you need to make sure that you leave the number 1 and the number 1 spot when you do them, so that you have all the right holes to fill. Okay. Okay, so now say you don't have a ton of colors, you can do your turn, do your quarter full turn here. Don't move your paper around like that. Okay, do your quarter turn, and then using the same color, what I'm gonna do is grab a piece of scratch paper, and we are going to ink it up. We're going to stamp onto here. We're going to pull that scratch paper out, and then we're going to do our actual stamp with our second value onto this paper. And now you can see like the soft colors that I have in the background here. Can you see the soft flowers that are in there? And you can do other fun things with this too. Here, let's turn this for the next one, and I'll show you a different idea. So we're just gonna tape this down. So if you don't have, or like even if you have lots of colors, maybe what you want to do is do that second value. So you're just gonna put a scratch paper in there, stamp off some of the color, and now you could go in and you could add with like a dauber or something. You can just like rock your stamp a little bit and add like a little bit of double color to this. And so you'll create different colors. And if you're doing it with like a dauber or something where you're gonna like actually go around the flowers and add a little bit more stuff, this will allow you to get like different effects with your with a more limited range of colors. So yeah, it is pretty cool. I have to say, this is one of my very favorite things from the time that I first learned about these stamps and how they work. And you can see how easy they are to set up and how easy it is to kind of create the effect. It's all about lining it up in the first place. Once you have that done, it's good. Anita says it's like doing layers in digital scrapbooking. Totally. Totally. And I'm just gonna create a kind of rub across layer here. And so I've created some different effects just using the inks here. Okay. So you can see like the yellows kind of have like a rub across kind of look to them. These ones actually have some more color in there. There's like the faint shade of this. So this is the same color, just done with a second value. So there's a lot of ways you can still play to get different looks, but you know, pretty amazing. But they look really good by themselves. So I'm going to pull these out. These are the ones I did earlier. So if you just did the florals, you could get a beautiful floral effect. If you just did the leaves, you get a beautiful leaf effect. But the magic, I think, truly is when you bring all of it together. So that is the turnabouts. And they all kind of work the same way. Some of them are smaller than others. And so I'm just going to show you quickly with this one. I haven't played with it yet. But when you have a smaller one, let's put this onto the thing here. And like you can see the stamp set, it actually, it has the leaves, it has the flowers, and then there's actually added words so that you can like finish a card or something like that too. Okay, so here's a smaller one. It's a smaller turnabout stamp, and it's the same thing though. It has like the little guide, which you have to line up in the middle, and you're gonna end up with a smaller image altogether, right? So, let's see here. We got this little shiny bit. So as long as you can find one part that lines up, you can usually get the rest of it lined up. Try to keep my head out of the camera. Okay, so now make sure that it's lined up on the jig and load it up onto here. Pull your little template off and then grab a card. Oh, let's just wipe this off first a little bit. It's got a lot of ink on it. Okay, so load up my card onto here. I like to put my number 1 up at the top so that if I just decide to change anything or move anything around, it will all work out. I lost my other tape. Okay, so this one, because it's smaller, is just going to go around the center point here. So I'm just going to use some of these colors that I have out here. And because it's brand new, I'll definitely have to ink it again. But look at how cute that is. And you get the same kind of effect, but a different thing when you use one that's a little bit smaller, right? So, a little bit smaller. And we'll just turn this. And a quick wipe there. And here we go. There. And so now you can see what the smaller ones are like. And I've done different things with these, and we'll talk about that here just in a sec. So you can see if you're not doing like the multi-layers and you don't have to stamp it multiple times, how quick it can be to create that effect, right? Doesn't have to be something that takes forever. I'm going to show you what I've done. Oh, shoot. No, I'm not. Oh, it was sitting right here. Okay, I'm not going to show you, I guess. I've moved that layout around too many times to know where I've popped it. Sorry. I took a bunch of these anyways, and I cut these into squares. And then I took them and I made a whole background with them. And so you could use different colors, you can use similar colors, you can do lots of different things with them, but to create a whole grid style background for your scrapbooks. Sorry, I thought I had the layouts in right here, but it's not. So yeah, so it's, well, I'm looking at this as cards right now. You could easily do these and create like 6x6s and put those together for use on a scrapbook page. And I think it would be pretty cool. So 6x6s, 4x4s, 3x3s, as long as you're fitting something that is square so that it can turn within your frame, it's all good. Okay, awesome. So hopefully this has inspired you to give a new tool or a new thing a try. I think that these are super fun, super easy to use. Like that's the thing. Like it does a complicated task, but they're easy to use. And you can get some pretty amazing effects with them. So let's go back here. And yeah, Beth says, I'm stamping impaired, so I followed along with a regular stamp and a platform and was able to make something stampy. Yay! Good job, Beth. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. So I think, yeah, the platforms are great. Always making sure that you're pushed right up into that corner of the thing is really important. Whether you're using like the jig or if it's just your paper that's in there, always push it up into the corner every time before you put that lid down, and then you'll be good. And it just makes it super easy. I think I made, what was it, like 70 or 80 Christmas cards last year, and the only reason that I got so many of them done is because I set up my platform and stamp next, doing multiples of a project is so easy on the platform. You don't have to worry about lining everything up. You can put your text in the perfect spot. If something doesn't make a nice crisp image, you just pop it back in. Oh, Hannah's here. Awesome. We were looking at the Turnabout Stamps from Concord 9th today, and we showed how this set here, actually this set is called Bloom's Turnabout Stamp Set, and it has a leaf turnabout, it has a flower turnabout, or you can use them together to create the full effect, and I love it. My stamping platform that I have is from Tonic. It was the Tim Holtz one. It kind of came out, and then there was like this whole kerfuffle in the scrapbooking world or the stamping world about copyright infringements. So yeah, so that became a thing, but I see they're releasing them now with collaborations, so they're all some form of the Misty, I believe, now. But yeah, this is the set. But yeah, I think that on a shelf, this doesn't look that exciting. Once you see how you can use them, and once you play with them, it's a game changer. And like one like this here, this mosaic one, once you, it gives you the option to do a big scene or a little tiny scene, and I think that that's super fun. Yeah, it's been a great little toy to play with, and because the results are really quite different every time you do them, I find my budget stretches a little further because I'm able to use them more often. Sometimes if it's just a single floral, I'll use it a few times and then it's like, oh, what else is shiny and new, right? But this allows you to keep that thing shiny and new a little bit longer, and the ability to kind of match the colors to whatever you're working with, it allows you to kind of play that way. The reason I chose this stamp platform, Joyce says that's the one that I have. Sheila says Tonic Studios, I have the same one and I really like it. The thing about this one that is so great is that, okay, I'm just going to show you. Let me put this onto my desk split here again. So the reason I like it is that with this platform here, this lid allows you to mount the clear. It says the word clear right here. This lid comes out, so here's the word clear, and that means that when it's like this and it's in here and you can read the word clear, this is for clear stamps. You can also pull it out, turn it around, and this word is rubber. So if you have the unmounted rubber stamps and you want to use them in here, you can use those with this as well. So you've got the right distance in here, like the sandwich is the right depth, I guess. I better put this back before I forget to check. The other great thing that is on this is that this bottom corner is open. So some of the platforms don't, like, because they're enclosed, they're kind of almost recessed. Like you put your card front in to the thing and it's recessed. The thing about this one is this part here is open. So if you wanted to scrapbook, put a scrap of paper in here, and it's 12 by 12. I don't have a sheet in front of me handy, but you could put a 12 by 12 paper and make it work in here because it can run out the corner of the platform, whereas some of them you'd be constricted by the size of the platform because all four edges are like raised, so you'd bend your paper trying to make it, well, you just couldn't make it work. So that was another reason I went with this one. This whole base part here is magnetic, so it comes with a couple of strong magnets. You'll notice that I have washi tape on my magnet because I like to be able to pick it up. And yeah, they don't come with it. They're just washi tape on there, but it helps to be able to grab it because when you've got that little magnet on there, sometimes it's hard to get it off of your sheet because they're pretty strong. So that's another little tip for using a platform. That's about all the tips I can think of for platform stamping. I just love being able to do like the same thing over and over and over really quickly, or have this ability to play with the turnabouts. Like, it's definitely, I think, a good investment. So yeah, that is it. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Yeah, Diane says, better yet, I like that you can use it for scrapbooking. Yeah, like you couldn't do the turnabout. Now I'm challenged. I wonder if there's a way that I could mount the stamp in here to do a turnabout in here. I'm so gonna test and see. Like, it would be in the center if I could mount it just right. I don't know if that's even possible. I don't know if that's even possible. If I took a piece of paper and I wanted to have my design right in the center of it, it might be possible. I'm gonna play. Kathy says, I love today's lesson. I'm inspired. Well, I have a fun idea that I'm gonna play with. I'll report back on Friday to let you know how it worked. Diane says, yay, go for it. It's gonna take a bit of my own. I'm gonna see if I can kind of make a little 12 by 12 jig, like out of some scrap paper, so that I can kind of maneuver my paper, make sure that I can get it lined up in the right place. Basically, I'm going to have to just fold a 12 by 12 scrap paper so that I know where to line up the stamp, but it should work. I'm pretty sure that this platform will be just big enough that I can make it work. I'm kind of excited. Beth says, thanks. I learned a lot. Perfect. That is the goal of these things, to give you a different idea of something that you might want to do. If you're in our ScrapHappy group, you will have noticed that I did send out our May calendar. Finally, I'm sorry guys, with load I was like way distracted, but we have some fun activities coming up this month. For everybody, you'll be able to join us for our Scrapbook Live, and that is on May the 30th at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And Kathy says, I'm traveling on Friday, hope to be able to sneak in from my sister-in-law's. Well, I hope her internet is better than my mom and dad's. Anyways, I will see you guys again on Friday. ScrapHappy members, we have some other activities coming up this week. I think our first thing is Thursday. We're going to be doing a scrap solution, so we'll be solving a little scrappy problem on Thursday. So Paula says, first to catch you live. I still have to watch the beginning. You always have great ideas and clues. Well, I think this is a super fun one, so I hope you enjoy. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you want more info, or you're like, what is this membership you're talking about? What are all these things, Alice? Come and check us out at scraphappy.org. We've got a lot of stuff going on. We're in the middle of our load challenge, the Load a Day challenge right now. It has been the best. Load is not open for outside registrations anymore, but if you come and join us as a ScrapHappy member, you can always jump in on the action. So that's always a great thing. And then we have so much more going on too. Okay. Oh, Lynn says, I received my prize from February today and it is great. Yay! Yeah, like they don't go out right away because we don't award them until March, and then it's a little bit of organizing and combining, making sure we get everything so everything can all go out. So I'm so glad that you got your stuff. We had so many sponsors for February. It was almost overwhelming, but it was wonderful. Yay! Thank you. You made my day. Oh my gosh. Well, having you all here makes mine. Thanks so much for the thumbs up. You guys are super generous, and I really appreciate everyone being here. I will be back Friday for our next Happy at Home session. Hopefully this makes your week a little bit happier and we can hang out again on Friday. Not sure what the topic will be yet. There'll be something fun, something that I enjoy and something that inspires me, and hopefully I can share the same for you. Okay, talk to you soon. Bye.